All right, I want to show you what our workflow in this class is supposed to look like using GitHub. So I've got a better terminal here. I hope that it's easier to see what's going on. You can see that I'm in my home directory because of this little tilde here. At any time you can get back to this by doing cd tilde and you're in the home directory. I just cleared that with a Command K on a Mac. Um, I can ls everything in my home directory to see the other directories here. I can cd into my documents, for example. If I type doc and hit tab, it'll autocomplete, and there I am. Okay. If you're on Linux, then you can type clear. Maybe there's another shortcut I don't know about to clear your screen. If you want to go back one level, you cd ... like so. But I made a little tutorial on bash basics. It's got a terminal that's harder to see, but hopefully you can go back, take a look at that, get comfortable in the bash shell. But let's talk about GitHub now and how I want you guys to use this in this class. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to our GitHub organization here, and you're going to find your repo that I set up for you. It's a private repo, and you'll see there's all kinds of starter code in here and a little bit of explanation here in the README file. What you need to do is you need to copy this URL right here. Okay. Now I come back to my shell, and I'm going to make a special directory in my home directory for this class. So I'm going to make dir coding class, and you can call it whatever you want. I don't care. You can say make dir computer science, whatever. Don't put a space between the words here though. Otherwise you make two directories. You don't want that. Okay. Make dir coding class. Now I'm going to change directories into that directory there. So if I ls, we can see that coding class is now one of the directories inside my home directory. So cd cod, and I'm going to tab to autocomplete so I don't have to type it all. Okay, I'm going to clear so I'm not looking at so much. If I ls, there's nothing in here. It's an empty directory. Okay. Now I just copied this clone URL right here. So from in here I'm going to type git clone and paste that sucker. Okay. It's going to take a minute. It might ask you for your GitHub user password, blah, blah, blah. If you have not used GitHub yet, then you need to do a git config -- global user.name not equals user.name. We'll just say SpongeBob. You're going to use your username, obviously, and then git config -- global user.email bikini bottom. Just use the one that you used when you signed up for GitHub. Okay, so if it's the first time you've used Git, you need to configure it like so. Okay, so now from here, if you ls, you'll notice that that directory has been copied into your coding class directory. This thing right here is called a repository. If I cd into that, I'm going to start typing the beginning of it and autocomplete. In ls, I see that there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Okay, I numbered them so that you can go through them in order. So we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now, what you're going to find in each one of these directories are a bunch of really simple Python exercises. The point here is not to teach you very much Python. The point is to teach you how to use Git. Okay, so let's do hello world first. I'm going to cd into 0 hello world. Okay, if I ls, I see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Python files in here. If I want to run one of these files, all I need to do is type python 3 hello world 0.py. Okay, and it's going to run that. It says hello world. Why don't we go look at what the code was in there that made that happen? Okay, so I'm going to open Sublime Text, and I am going to go find that. So that was in my home directory. I called it coding class. There it is. Python tour. I was in hello world 0.py. Okay, so I'm going to open that thing now. Let me make this a little bigger. And I'm going to make the text a little bigger if I can. Okay, so when you look at this text file right here, you see that it says the computer talks to the world, and you can tell it to say whatever you want. Print hello world. Why don't I just add a couple of things? Okay, I added some stuff to this. Okay, I just saved it. Now I'm going to go back to my terminal, and I'm going to run that same file again. It's called hello world 0.py. See, I'm working on hello world 0.py. So I'm going to do Python 3, hello world 0.py, and then it puts all that stuff in there. Okay, now here's where we're going to use git. If you do git status, it's going to tell you that something's been modified. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to git add that file hello world 0.py. Okay, if you run git status again, it's green now. It says changes to be committed. We're going to commit this. Okay, so I'm going to git commit, and every time I commit, I add a message. So I'm going to do git commit -m, and my message is added a couple print statements. That's what I did to that file. Okay, now I'm going to git push. Okay, a bunch of stuff happens, but here's what really happened. Go back to your Git repository. Look at this thing right here, hello world 0. Look, added a couple of print statements. That's the commit message that I just added, okay? If I click on this, I can see that the code changed and it's all stored here now. If I want to look at the history, I can look at this commit right here, and look at that. It shows me these two green lines. It shows me what I added. It's kind of blocked this out since nothing changed up here, but it showed me what I added. Why don't I do some more stuff? So I'm just going to clear here, so I'm not looking at all this. I'm going to ls to remember what's in my directory that I'm looking at. I just worked through hello world 0.py. Why don't I move on to hello world 1.py? Okay, so I'm going to go back to Sublime Text, and I'm going to open that one. I'm going to open hello world 1.py. Okay, now I'm looking at hello world 1.py. Okay, there's a couple questions here. It says, what is wrong with this code and how did you fix it? Well, I don't know what's wrong with this code yet. Why don't I go run it and see what happens? Okay, so I'm going to do Python 3 hello world 1.py. It says syntax error, invalid syntax. What's going on here? I thought I just did something like this. If I look back at hello world 0, I notice, oh, there's quotes here. I need to have quotes inside of my print statement. Okay, so it turns out in Python you can use single or double quotes. I'll just put double quotes here this time, and I'm going to save it, because if I don't save it, then nothing is going to change when I go back here to run it. I'm going to push the up arrow to get to the last command that I put into the terminal here. There we go, hello world worked. Okay, but I'm going to come back and look at this again. It says, what's wrong with this code? How did you fix it? I'm going to put some comments down here. Okay, so I would say the print statement had a syntax error. Remember, over here it said invalid syntax. The print statement had a syntax error. I added quotes, and now it works. Okay, when you start a line with a hash symbol like this is called a comment, and it's not going to be run by the program at all. It's going to be ignored when I run this using Python. The only thing that's going to be run is this print statement right here. This right here is called a doc string, and it's just like a multi-line comment. I'm putting doc strings in all of these files for you that give you a little bit of directions, a little bit of information about what you're supposed to do with this. So if it asks you a question like that you have to answer with words, then go ahead and answer in comments down here after you fix it. Okay? So I just fixed this file, hello world 1.py. Now I need to commit that and push it to GitHub. So it's going to look something like this. I'm going to do a git status. Okay? Git status is always going to tell me my current status in this Git repository. It noticed that I modified hello world 1.py. Right? I changed some of this file. So what I'm going to do before I can commit is I have to use git add. Which file did I change? It was hello world 1.py. Okay, now if I do git status, it's green. It says that it's ready to be committed. So I'm going to do a git commit -m. What did I do? I fixed the print statement. Okay. Now what's left to do is a git push. You get some warnings right here, but you don't need to worry about them. I'm going to go double check it in my browser real quick. Look at that, fix the print statement. Okay, it sees that I changed this line to say that, added a couple blank lines in my comment right here to answer the question. So this is your basic workflow, okay? I'm going to do one more. Let's do Hello World 2. So Hello World 2 looks something like this. I'm going to go look at it in Sublime Text though. So I'm going to file, open Hello World 2, okay? Here's Hello World 2. What's going on here? It says, how many variables are here and what are their names? Okay, interesting. It says x is equal to this thing hello world in quotes. And then down here on line 10 it says print x. Why don't I go run this and see what happens? Okay, I'm going to clear my screen. That was hello world 2, so I want to run it. I'm going to do python 3 hello world 2.py. Okay. Oh, it just prints hello world. If I come back here and look at that, it looks like it's storing this thing. It's called a string. It's storing it in X, and then later it's printing it. Well, that's pretty simple. I'm just going to answer that, okay? There is only one variable here, and its name is X. There's my answer. That's simple. I just want you guys to do a little something like that. Change the file. Okay, now let me show you something. If I come back over here and I do git status, it says your branch is up to date, nothing to commit, working directory clean. That's because I didn't save this change I just made. So I'm gonna save this. Okay, and I'm gonna come back over here, and if I do a git status, it's like, oh, something changed. I want to commit this and push it to GitHub now. Okay, so I'm going to do a git commit, and that was hello world 2.py. Ooh, sorry, I cannot commit before I add. Okay, let me just show you what would happen if you accidentally did that. This is a common mistake. Hello world 2.py. It's going to say please enter commit message. Don't like this. If you ever get this thing right here, hit colon and Q. You quit, okay? I don't know what happened now, so I'm going to do a git status again. Okay, so I need to stage this guy for commit. I need to do git add hello world 2.py. Now when I do git status, it shows me it's green, it's ready to be committed. Okay, so I'm going to git commit, and my message is, gosh, what did I do? I answered the question in hello world 2. That's all I did. Okay, so I've committed that. I'm going to git push, and there we go. If I come back to my GitHub repo, I'm going to look, answer the question in Hello World 2. See, you can see that each one of these has changed now. My updates are in there. Now the cool thing about this is you and I are going to be able to see this together in this private repo as we work through things in the class. And I'm going to set you up with code in here to get you started on projects. Again, the whole point of this Python tour right now is to work through these one at a time, go through the hello world things, go through the int versus strings, go through these different directories, look at each file in there, make changes to them, and commit and push to GitHub. And I'm not trying to teach you a bunch of Python concepts. I'm trying to get you comfortable using GitHub here. And so we'll work on this more together in class, but hopefully this little video tutorial gets you going.